What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Forge for Greatness. I'm your host, Chris LaForgia. Today's going to be a very quick episode. I want to talk about my three biggest lessons and/or takeaways from the very first three episodes of Forge for Greatness. The first being with Patch with Love, the second with Jordan Toma, and the third with Randy Patrizio. So, starting with Patch with Love. My biggest takeaway or lesson from their episode, and if you guys haven't watched or listened to any of these episodes, you can go back. Patch with Love happens to be episode 2. My biggest takeaway from Amanda and Izzy's story is they did not hesitate. They made a quick decision to start their business. Most people, when they have a great idea, they sit on the fence for a while with it. They overthink it. They want to put together a fancy website or a fancy logo, or they think they need to seek validation from others. So they'll ask Aunt Sally or Uncle Freddie, hey, what do you think of this idea? I'm thinking about launching this business, but I need your opinion. I need your validation. And 9 times out of 10, when you ask family members or friends what they think of your idea, I would say 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to shoot it down because they didn't come up with it themselves. So a lot of business owners, or not even business owners, a lot of people with great ideas, they fall into this trap of overthinking, of trying to tweak every least little thing. There's been so many inventors and business owners that went onto Shark Tank, for example, and they pitched their idea, they pitched their product to the sharks, and a lot of them kept making revisions and revisions and revisions and tweaking this and tweaking that. And they didn't end up getting a deal with any of the sharks because the sharks saw that as an inability to make quick executive decisions, right? When it comes to Amanda and Izzy's story with Patch with Love, I think about this book that I read a couple years ago called Start Something That Matters. The author is the owner of Tom Shoes, which is a worldwide shoe and clothing brand. And again, I think if you have a great idea and it's an idea that is going to not only matter to you in your heart, but also matter to your future customers and future clients, you got to run with it. You can't hesitate. And Amanda and Izzy did just that. They did not hesitate. They ran with their idea. They launched their business, and now they're making birthday parties and baby showers. They're turning those types of events, which are normally boring events, they're turning them into exciting events. And again, if you haven't watched episode 2, Patch with Love, go back and watch, and you'll fill yourself in on the details of what exactly they do. So again, my biggest takeaway for Patch with Love is their quick decision to start their business, and they didn't overthink things. You become ready once you start. You don't need to be ready in order to start. So that's lesson 1. Lesson 2 applies to Jordan Toma and his story. Again, if you haven't seen his episode, go back and watch episode 4. He's a motivational speaker, goes throughout the US to all these different schools, talks to all these different students. He's probably spoken to millions of students, if not more. And my biggest takeaway from his episode is he relentlessly kept shooting his shot until he landed an opportunity. So early on in his business, he was sending out postcards to every principal in America. And he was sending out emails to every educational conference in America. And he finally got a response, and he landed his first speaking conference in Orlando, I believe it was. And from that point on, his business just exploded. That kickstarted his career, and he's been on a roll ever since. So he made a decision. He made a courageous decision to keep shooting his shot until he landed his opportunity. Because, listen, opportunities aren't given. You know, no one's going to just be like, hey, here's this opportunity. There you go. I wrapped it up all nice for you. I want you to take it. All right, take it. That was me trying to do Sebastian Maniscalco. But so yeah, I mean, no one's giving you opportunities, right? You have to take your opportunities when they present themselves. And that's exactly what Jordan did. And that's my biggest takeaway and or lesson from his episode. And it reminds me of a time early on in my business. It was like the first year or two. I was invited to a conference in Miami, and there was going to be all these multi-millionaire entrepreneurs there speaking at it, and I was a guest. And I went to Newark Airport, boarded the plane. For some reason, there was something wrong with the aircraft, so they deplaned us. And I'm waiting in the terminal for the new plane to arrive at the gate. And for some reason, I ended up not going to this conference in Miami. And who knows who I would have met, where I would be today with my business after having all those conversations with all these successful people. So that's a regret for me. And the reason why I'm explaining this is because I did the opposite of what Jordan Toma did, right? Jordan Toma saw the opportunity, even though it was a very slim opportunity. He saw the opportunity when it presented himself, when it presented itself, and he fucking snatched that opportunity. And, you know, ever since, he's been hugely successful, traveling all around the United States, speaking to all these kids and all these teachers, and he's an inspiration to millions of people. Now, this is a kid that, he's not a kid anymore, but he was a kid with an IEP, right? He had learning disabilities, speaking disabilities, and now he's a motivational speaker. Like, go figure, right? He went from someone that was afraid to speak and speak up to someone that does it for a living. It's just an amazing story, and it's truly fucking inspirational. So that's second takeaway is when opportunities present themselves, you got to snatch them. You got to keep shooting your shot until you get that opportunity. And when it does present itself, grab it by the horns and don't let go. Third takeaway is from Randy Patrizio's episode of HD Event Group. Now, it was one of the most emotional episodes that we've had thus far. Go back and watch, go back and listen. His father's in jail for something related to Randy's family. And my biggest takeaway from Randy's story is his decision to never quit, even when life was giving him every reason to quit, every reason to throw in the towel, every reason to end his business and or end his life. And he just kept pushing through the storm. He just kept pushing through the tornado of fucking negativity that was swirling around him. His wife has health issues. His father in jail, having to see his family that no longer talks to him at, various court appearances. Having to see his father in handcuffs and shackles. Like, this fucking guy has been through the ringer and back. And despite everything, despite all the negativity, despite all the bad shit happening around him, he's continued to forge ahead. He's continued to grow his business, grow on a personal level as well. This guy is going to the gym. This guy is working out daily. This guy is not only keeping his body in shape, but he's keeping his mind sharp, right? He's learning new things in his industry. He's growing his staff. He's taking on newer and bigger clients. So again, go back and watch, go back and listen. This guy has been through the worst shit. And if you think you have it bad, just listen to that episode 3 of Forged for Greatness. Randy, one of the most resilient people that I know. And again, my biggest takeaway from his personal story is his perseverance, his resilience, his decision to never quit despite all the bad shit, man. All the bad shit. You know, I think Randy has done a great job at not letting outside forces, not letting the environment, not letting things that are out of his control control him, right? He controls his environment. And he used all the negativity as fuel, right? Because for most people, when they have bad shit happen to them, what do? They make excuses for why they aren't doing something that they're supposed to be doing. They make excuses. Not Randy. He did not make excuses. He used, again, the negativity as fuel, and it became his engine, right? Instead of being the victim, he became the victor. And that's what it comes down to. He's fucking winning, despite everything. He is fucking winning in life, in business, and just go back and watch. It's an inspiration. And I hope we get that episode out to as many people as possible because, again, going back to my point earlier, if you think you have it bad, you don't. You really don't. So, man, I'm so happy with these first 3 episodes of Forged for Greatness. And I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for my upcoming guests and their episodes to be released. If you guys got any value out of this quick episode, please share it with a loved one. Drop a comment on the YouTube. And if you or someone you know would make a great guest on Forge for Greatness, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube. I don't think you can message on YouTube, but we're on TikTok. You can message us on TikTok. Just find a way to get in touch with us. We'd love to have you on. I appreciate you guys watching. Once again, greatness isn't given, it is forged. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching.